This is 911. Do you have an emergency?
Today on Rescue 911. Fly over Miami.
Stabbings, accident victims is routine Saturday night for Dade County.
Take to the sky with Metro Air Rescue.
One thing is certain, that we have saved many lives.
Watch this emergency chopper team save lives.
I feel I'm lucky that I'm alive.
Then, a raging river becomes a rafting nightmare.
I heard him screaming. Knew we had to do something to get him.
Rescuers race the rapids before it takes a life on Rescue 911.
In Miami, responding to the scene of violent crimes is an everyday occurrence. And when every second counts, the speed and mobility of helicopter ambulances can mean the difference between life and death. This story is not a recreation. It's the result of one night's ride with the Metro Dade Air Rescue Team.
Dade County Police and Fire, do you have an emergency?
Yes, it's an emergency.
What is the emergency, please?
Someone just got robbed. I'm in my car.
What is the address where this happened?
At 10:48 p.m., a call comes into 911.
What happened?
The guy had a gun. He just ran across the road, and I almost ran him over.
Okay, what, he held the place up with a gun?
Yeah. There was somebody screaming, and I saw him running with a suitcase and a gun.
County Police and Fire.
There was a shootout, and there's a man bleeding.
He got shot?
Yeah, there were 3 shots, and there was a man bleeding from the head.
Dade County Police and Fire, do you have an emergency?
2 persons were shot in Burr Road.
More calls report a double shooting in the parking lot outside a restaurant.
No, I'm just calling because they're lying on the floor.
All right, we have officers on the way out there.
When we continue.
Shooting, stabbings, accident victims is routine Saturday night for Dade County. Why? Big city. Big cities are always busy.
Respond with engine 3 to a 330 Street Southwest 96th Avenue. Police are en route. Call reported by a passerby. There's no other information.
Sure, so 9640.
Local rescue vehicles rush to the scene. At the same time, the air rescue helicopter crew is also launched. The time difference is 7 minutes handling time on the aircraft as opposed to 41 minutes handling time on the ground unit. So that's where we think we make the difference.
When you go out on another call, it's another person that needs your help. So this is the most tragic thing that's probably ever happened in their lives.
We have 2 patients, one with a gunshot to the head, one with an abdominal gunshot.
Shooting, stabbings, accident victims is routine Saturday night for Dade County. Why? Big city. Big cities are always busy.
Yes, sir, we're responding to a 330 shooting with 2 patients, 1 patient.
One thing is certain, that we have saved many lives, and had we have not been involved in the transportation of these injured persons, they would have died.
Okay, you're clear down right hill, sir.
The helicopter lands in a schoolyard.
Okay, guys, we're stepping out.
The 2 gunshot victims are transferred from a nearby rescue vehicle.
The restaurant owner exited the business when he was approached from behind by a male. He was struck on the back of the head with a firearm and immediately turned around and began struggling with the subject. Thereafter, a friend of his came out to his aid, and at that point, the restaurant owner was shot, and the friend of his was also shot during the struggle.
The first patient that we brought up was the patient with the gunshot wounds to the head.
Fernando Garcia was held up at gunpoint outside his family restaurant.
The other patient was in critical condition.
His customer, Ray Amaro, had taken a shotgun blast in the stomach while trying to defend him.
You're clear left, we're right in the back.
Okay, you're clear, right tail's clear.
Air Rescue 2's lifted off with patients with an ETA of about 4 to 5 minutes at this time.
Across the city, Jackson Memorial Hospital preps for their arrival.
Number 1, a 36-year-old male. He has multiple pellet wounds from a shotgun to the lower left abdomen. There appears to be at least 10 entry wounds. Second patient, he also was shot with a shotgun. He has at least 2 entry wounds to the left side of his head, above the left ear. clear.
33 minutes after the first call for help, the Medchopper lands on the roof of the hospital.
Unload.
Okay, AC's off.
When you get a patient who's unstable and they whisk them in here within a matter of 10 minutes of the injury, even if they're 30 miles away, and without them, they die. No question.
Though his head wounds are bloody, restaurant owner Fernando Garcia's injuries are not nearly as critical as those of the man who tried to help him.
Got it?
Yeah.
The trauma surgeon on call is Dr. Robert Zeppa.
Apparently some goons were waiting for the owner outside his restaurant. Picked him up in the parking lot, started to beat him, and this chap was a customer and apparently went to his help.
Dr. Michael Stamos examines Ray Amaro.
He's getting x-rays now. He's stable. And I went ahead and handled the gunshot wound to the abdomen because it sounded like he was going to need emergency surgery. He actually had what appeared to be a shotgun blast to his left upper quadrant of his abdomen with a fair amount of spread.
Do me a favor, call 188-149, ask him to get down here right away. Explain to him what we're going to do. ELAP, repair whatever's injured. May have to remove spleen or whatever is injured. May get a colostomy. We need a one-shot IVP real quick first. A what? A one-shot IVP, because he got his kidney. I want to make sure the other one's working.
Well, the x-rays showed a large number of fragments in the abdominal cavity.
Let me see. No pneumo.
Okay, he's got priority one.
What's he called? Are you gonna?
There may be multiple holes in the intestinal tract, and we got to close all of them. Just to leave one open is dangerous.
Out of the way. Here, did somebody get the elevator? Yeah.
As we were preparing him for the surgery, there was a difficulty in placing the tube that allows the anesthesiologist to breathe for the patient during the operation.
Give me a knife, quick. Yes, go.
We had to make an incision in his neck and enter the trachea directly with the tube in order to breathe for him.
Yes, give me a cry, quick. Give me a tube, quick. Give me a tube. Somebody give me a tube. Here. Okay, it's in. Let's go. Damn it.
At that time, he stabilized, and we proceeded with the operation. Once you're in the abdomen, the x-rays don't really help you a lot in this kind of situation. You've got a large number of pellets, more than 20 or 30, and the only way to know what's going on is to examine every single organ individually, one at a time. You have to be very systematic and make sure you don't miss anything, because a missed injury in this sort of situation is lethal.
Some more pellets hanging around.
Got a bunch right here.
We know we're clear all the way to here.
Mm-hmm.
Right here we begin. 1, 2, let's go. Atta boy.
He had several pellet wounds to his small intestine, as well as 1 or 2 to his large intestine. There was a couple of pellets in the area of the blood vessel supplying the spleen, requiring us to remove the spleen.
Just clamp it. Put a clamp on it, and we'll tie them off. Atta boy.
In a trauma room, Fernando Garcia is also treated.
His wounds were all superficial. He was admitted and watched overnight carefully, seen by the neurosurgeons, and then he was discharged home the following day.
I feel I'm lucky that I'm alive. He tried to save my life. No matter if I was the owner of the restaurant or no matter what I was. He don't know nothing to me, I don't know nothing to him. He was my customer, he know me, he did it all for me.
Mr. Amaro, over the next couple of days, did very well, and about post-op day 2 or 3, he began having some respiratory problems. He then went on to develop a pneumonia. He rapidly deteriorated and required increasing respiratory support. This pneumonia, once it got a foothold, just ate away his lung. Despite aggressive antibiotic therapy and all the other maneuvers that we use to combat pneumonias and bad infections, he continued to deteriorate and went on to expire.
They came to the restaurant to see me, to tell me the news that he passed away. It's like you lost something big, something that you won't forget in all your life. I cried many days.
Ray Amaro had come to this country from Cuba 9 years earlier. His only close relative here was his cousin, Blanca.
We were brought up together. He was the only family I had over here. He was a guy who was real active, real happy, always having a good time. Ray was the type of man who didn't like abuse of animals, people. That was the heroic part of him.
Ray had never been happy with his life in Cuba. Several times he tried to escape by raft, only to be caught and returned.
The first thing that he said when he got to Miami was, "Now I can die happy because I'm in the Freedom State." I really feel sad and at the same time happy because the love that he had planted all over was so great. I'm sure he did it for his fellow man, and he would have done it for any stranger.
Paramedic Scott Harper found the news of Amaro's death hard to accept.
We hate to lose anybody, so I was very surprised and shocked. We certainly had high hopes for him. This was a man that obviously was a caring person and wanted to do something for his fellow human beings and try to help them out in a moment of crisis. I am, really sad about this, but, we'll have to go on. Everything had been changed. I was the one that supposed to be dead, but because of his good feelings, his good heart, he saved my life. That's the way I see it.
I always try and help people, and even people that I've seen sometimes on the street, and sometimes if you lend a hand, even a complete stranger, you'll get something back from it, and I guess that's what I got back. I got my father.
Next.
I knew we had to do something to get him off there. We need to get this helicopter going. He would just be a body floating in the river.
On most days, the Great Miami River slips through Hamilton, Ohio. But much of the footage in this story was taped last May 24th, when the river was dangerously high.
He's just part of me. Part of me was in that water, fighting. He was just fighting for his life.
Heavy rains had swollen the river to twice its size. As it churned over the nearly completed dam, it looked like a white water ride to Paulette Chandler's son David and his best friend, Rodney Jones.
I thought it was going to be easy. I didn't have no idea what we was getting into. We paddled straight out to the middle. We was yelling and stuff. We was having a blast. And then we started going towards the dam. We was just paddling, paddling, and paddling.
Police and Fire Dispatch, Operator Shoemaker.
A call came in to 911 at 4:23.
2 male juveniles in a raft. They've just gone down the dam. One of them's still in the raft, and the second one is in the water.
308-27 being routed to the dam.
Rodney had been incredibly lucky. When the raft flipped over, he was dragged 70 feet underwater by the powerful currents at the base of the dam, then pushed clear. But David was trapped and could only try to hold on. Fireman Jim Reinheimer was one of the first paramedics on the scene.
The whole situation was desperate. To be stuck in the middle of a raging river with no ideas and not the proper equipment is a very desperate situation.
Only one in now. The engineer, crane, his crane only goes out 80 feet, and he said it's about 300 foot out. All the ideas we were coming up with were being, shot down because they wouldn't work. We couldn't get a boat in there because of the current. We couldn't bring him upstream because of the turbine in the water. The crane was out because it was too short. Couldn't get a rope out to him.
It's a feeling of helplessness that someone's going to die very shortly for no reason other than the fact that you can't get him off the river, that you can't do anything about it.
It took us about 15 minutes to respond from the time he told us to. What we could see right away, of course, the boy was stuck in the middle of the river, and he was being jostled pretty good. If he would have let go of that raft, I felt that he could have hit the concrete dam and possibly he would have drowned instantly, I think.
Jim Reinheimer, the other paramedic that was there, he suggested taking the aerial belt and lowering that down to him on a rope, letting the boy grab onto that, and then taking the rope over and drop it to the shore and then pull him out.
I heard him screaming in the river, and at that point I knew he was near panic. I mean, I knew we had to do something to get him off there. We needed to get this helicopter going, to get it up and to get something down to him. It would just be a body floating in the river. To try to lower a rope right to a person in a river is not as easy as it might seem.
The problem I had, I could not see the boy once I got over the top of him because I couldn't look out my window, because if I moved over too far, then I could see him, then the rope was too far away.
We were all aware that he was near exhaustion and that if he fell off of the raft, there would be no way he would live.
Hold on the bow and hold on to your boat. Don't let go of the boat.
Bill maneuvered the helicopter upriver just a little bit, and the idea, all he had to do was get in line with the victim in the river, and then when he was right in line, it was to drop the weight in the water at just the right time so it would flow in the river to him.
Put the bell around you. Low two? Yeah. Get some blankets. I'll get some blankets. Somebody go after the cotton. Just relax. Hang on there. Get good, pal. Get good. Good work, guys.
Get on with the cervix.
Just relax. I think you need to spit some of that water out.
We need the Stokes basket off the aerial instead of the cot. Easier to carry.
His body temperature was 92 degrees, which is pretty severe. He was in lactic acidosis, which can cause all kind of problems. It can cause you to have a heart attack. Even a young adult like that could have a heart attack, and his heart just quit beating or start fibrillating. At that point, there's not really much we could do. He needed to be heated up properly and gotten to a hospital.
David and Rodney are still best friends, as they have been since kindergarten, but they don't go out on the river anymore.
I thought that I was dead because there wasn't no way that anybody could get me out of the river. The water was just, it was just pushing me. It was unreal.
These flashbacks gets to me because it scared me bad. Damn. Man.
It just made me feel bad that I couldn't be there to let him know that somebody was there that really loved him. I mean, I might have done more harm, I don't know, if I'd been there. But at least he would have known Mom's there.
It was just the ultimate terror. And that fireman, he done the rest. Without him, I would have drowned.
Step out of the car, please.